Calculus. For many students, this word sends a chill down their spine. Calculus is a very intimidating math course that many people struggle through. Me, being a student who has taken Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, I can attest and say that calculus is very hard. According to an article that talks about what calculus is, it says calculus, like foreign languages, has had the reputation among many students as being too hard. I can attest to this, and I can definitely agree that calculus is a very hard subject, and many people do not make it through calculus. An article that I read about the basics of calculus, it says, as a result, most of our students do not progress as far as calculus, which limits them in their opportunities in post-secondary education. It is very saddening to hear that one class, calculus, can limit somebody in their post-secondary education. So today, I want to show you guys a simpler way of solving a derivative using the quotient rule. By the end of this presentation, you will know what the quotient rule is, you will know how to apply it to a problem using the quotient rule, and you will be more familiar and more comfortable with using the quotient rule in any situation with derivatives. In order to follow along with these steps, you will need a piece of paper, a pencil, and you will need prior knowledge about what the power rule is and what derivatives are in calculus. When Khan Academy explains the quotient rule, they say basically you take the derivative of f multiplied by g, subtract f, multiplied by the derivative of g, then divide all that by gx squared. Sounds crazy, right? Today I want to teach you guys a simpler version of that. Now on to the steps. Step 1 is to write out your problem. We have 6x squared divided by 2 minus x. Step 2 is to write down your equation. This is the complicated Khan Academy version, but my version, which is simpler, is low d high minus high d low, all divided by low low. Your low is your denominator, d is the derivative, and high is the numerator. So it's your low times the derivative of your high minus your high times the derivative of your low, all divided by low low. Now step 3, we're going to start filling in the equation. So you have the first part of the equation is your low times the derivative of your high. So your low is your denominator, so we have 2 minus x times the derivative of your high. Hopefully you guys have prior knowledge about how to solve the power rule using when you do a derivative. So the derivative of 6x squared would be 12x. So then we're going to move on to step 4 and continue to fill it in, which is the second half, which is your high times the derivative of your low. So now we have your high, which is given to us 6x squared, times the derivative of your low, which is the derivative of 2 minus x is negative 1. And then we continue to fill in, and we fill in our denominator, which is your low times your low, which is your 2 minus x times 2 minus x. Now our last step is step 6, which is just to simplify. We have everything written down. We have our 2 minus x times 12x minus 6x squared times negative 1 all over 2 minus x times 2 minus x. To simplify, we have 12x times 2, which will get you 24x, minus, which is the minus here, 12x times x, which will get you 12x squared. Then you subtract, put your subtraction sign here, and then you have 6x times negative 1, which will get you negative 6x squared. Now when you have your negative 6x squared, most people know to do keep, change it, which will get you plus, or positive. Then we're going to combine our like terms. 24x doesn't have any like terms, but negative 12x squared and positive 6x squared will get you negative 6x squared. So now you have 24x minus 6x squared all over 2 minus x squared, which is all you have to do was combine these two, make it simpler, and it will go down here to 2 minus x squared. Some people will allow you to stop here, but to get it to the simplest terms, you can factor out a 6x, which is within 24x and 6x squared, which will leave you 6x times the quantity of 4 minus x, all divided by 2 minus x squared. And that's your final answer. Things to avoid while doing this process is to not confuse with the low d high and the high d low, to make sure that you have everything in its correct place. It's also to not rush through it because your signs are very important when simplifying. And it's also to make sure that you do not forget to simplify, because you cannot stop at this step. You have to get to its simplest form. So today I hope you guys have a better understanding and an easier way to solve a derivative using the quotient rule, using the term low d high minus high d low all over low low. Thank you for listening.